The following is a presentation of iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations on LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.
Coming up next, it's the NASCAR Peak for Series, powered by iRacing AlfallaTech All-Star Race from the Charlotte Motor Speedway in Concord, North Carolina, and the action starts next, right here on iRacing Live and LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.
Did you know the lion's sense of vision is so powerful, it actually enables nearby creatures to see better? Here we see lions assisting the offspring of others, while their parents are elsewhere in the wild. Brilliant, isn't it? Making the wild kingdom look much better indeed. Do good, be a lion.
Good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to the Charlotte Motor Speedway for the 2016 NASCAR Peak Anniversary Series, powered by iRacing AlfallaTech All-Star Race in Charlotte. We're happy to have you with us right here on LSRTV, the voice of sim racing. Myself, Evan Pisocco, joined by Andy Kessler, topside LSRTV's producer Cisco Scaramuza, downstairs in the production trailer, getting us set to go for 50 laps, 75 miles of action tonight for this NASCAR Peak Anniversary Series All-Star Invitational, and we're so happy that you're joining us right here on LSRTV. We're looking forward to drop the green flag tonight. 38 laps at the beginning of this one. Going to bring these guys through to the competition caution, Andy. They're going to have, give or take, about 10 laps after that to fight this one out. But this event has really become a staple mark amongst the drivers. Not an official race in the 2016 championship, but Ray Alfalla and AlfallaTech jumping on board this year to help support this event, featuring some of the best drivers we have seen over the years in the NASCAR Peak Anniversary Series, battling it out for just bragging rights here tonight in Concord.
Evan, this is absolutely fantastic. You look at the names that are eligible, that are here, that are in here tonight. This is absolutely fantastic. I can't wait to get this underway. This is basically when you talk about the best of the best, yeah, well, they're all here.
Let's take a look at the format that we're going to see for tonight's AlfallaTech All-Star Race. You can see the sun is out at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. As opposed to running under the lights, it's hot and slick out on the racetrack. They're going to go racing for 50 laps of competition here tonight in NASCAR's backyard. We're going to start the race. These drivers have the ability to run with open setups. It's a dynamic weather setting with 117 degrees, by the way, down trackside. But the way this race is going to take place is there is going to be a single competition caution at lap number 38. Yellows can come before and after that point, and we will have one opportunity of running a green-white checker if a yellow does come out in the closing laps of this race. That would not otherwise give us an opportunity to complete it in the schedule to 50 laps. You're not allowed to take tires before lap number 38, Andy. You can take tires after that, and you can pit if you want at that caution with 12 laps to go, but it's not mandated. So I think it's safe to say that a lot of these teams, really the only strategy that they're coming into this race with is what they're going to do at that pit stop, because that could make or break the race for them.
Well, that is the whole strategy. I mean, do you pit? Do you not pit? Do you take two tires? Do you take no tires? I mean, what is the strategy? I'm sure we're going to see a bunch of guys take different types of them here, and some guys staying out, choosing that track position as their strategy. A lot's on the line. That's a pretty interesting fact right there, and we'll see exactly who are going to be those guys to come down to take tires.
We'll set the field for the AlfallaTech All-Star in a moment, but before then, we'll toss things down trackside and get tonight's event underway. Down with opening ceremonies and with Jaden Berkey for the performance of tonight's national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
A big thanks, as always, to Jaden Berkey for performing tonight's national anthem, as well as a call to the virtual Thunderbirds for getting tonight's action underway, because with that, qualifying now draws to a close, and the cars are heading on track for the AlfallaTech All-Star Race at Charlotte. So let's go down trackside and take a look at your LSRTV starting lineup. The 2015 All-Star Champion going to qualify on pole, a 28.650. Going to put the number 2 AlfallaTech Ford of Ray Alfalla on the number 1 spot, and he'll be joined by Brian Blackford, who qualified in one of the 10 drivers getting their ticket punched through the All-Star Shootout. Going to join him on the front row in P2. Dylan Duvall going to start tonight in 3rd position. Dylan Rafferty alongside him in 4th, and Taylor Hurst going to round out your top 5 qualifiers.
Starting in that 6th spot, another shootout transfer position. The 74 of 21 of Alan Bose will start in that 6th spot. 12 of Joey Brown will roll off in the 7th spot. 8th outside row number 4, that's going to be the 57 of PJ Sturgis. Josh Berry in the 88 will start 9th, and David Rattler will round out the top 10.
Just behind him, you'll find the number 39 Fast Tracks entry, Michael J. Johnson in 11th. P12 to the outside of row number 6, going to be the 29 of Kevin King. Tyler Laughlin in the number 13 starting position behind the wheel at a Monster Energy Chevrolet. Nicholas Johnston back of him in P14, and Ryan Borges appears to round out your field in the number 15 position. So 15 drivers going to have an opportunity to get themselves into victory lane here tonight in the AlfallaTech All-Star Race at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. This track, Andy, going to be a play host to 200 laps of competition next Tuesday for the next round, the 8th round of the 2016 NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series. So tonight, a little bit of a warm-up. This track, the most common intermediate racetrack on the sim. These guys had this track since they registered as an iRacing member, and they've kept it with them through to getting their pro licenses. 1.5 miles in length, 24 degrees of towering banking. But the single biggest thing I think to look at tonight is normally we run here under the lights. It's a day race. It's hot and slick out there on the racetrack. And if you don't think the track changes when you're running under the lights and when you're running under the sunlight, you don't know much about this racetrack. This is a completely different track than what they would have raced in the past if they were doing a night one.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, a little bit of shade in turn number 1, that's going to help them obviously on corner entry, but this place is typically can be pretty loose on corner exit in turns 2 and 4 under the lights. So now you throw in the factor of the sun being out, a little bit hotter of a racetrack. It's going to make a lot more challenging for these drivers, especially coming off of these corners. But this is going to be an absolutely fun one here tonight. 15 of the best out here tonight, looking to get it done and come home as your winner.
The lights on top of the pace car are out, and We get set to drop the green flag. Let number 1 going to go into the works. We'll go through lap 38, where regardless of the caution flag patterns between now and then, there will be a guaranteed competition caution at lap number 38 of 50. Pit road is open, but you're not allowed to take fresh Goodyear Eagles until that point. The pace car's down and away. We're happy to have you with us on LSRTV and iRacing Live. Green flag in the air. The AlfallaTech All-Star Race is underway. Your pole sitter, Ray Alfalla, no problem getting out the turn number 1. He leaves a side-by-side battle with Duval and Blackford in the mirror. 5 car lengths to the 2 car at a turn number 2.
Yeah, Duval in that 42 didn't waste any time either. A great restart for him on that inside line, able to get around Blackford, as does the 46 now, Dylan Rafferty, as he gets around that 22 machine on the inside lane. That's going to leave it open, though. Here comes Alan Bowes as well, so the 22 falling back early.
Drop it back in that battle going on now to turn number 3 outside of the racetrack. Blackford trying to hold off that tournament of Alan Bowes. He's making a good march towards the front, and he'll get that spot coming off of the second turn. So single file we go inside of the top 5. It's Alfalla, Duval, Rafferty, Blackford, and behind him, the 20 would have Alan Bowes through the opening 2 laps of competition at a turn number 4. More battling going on behind. Taylor Hurst, the number 74 Chevrolet, he's on the inside of the racetrack. The 12 of Joey Brown behind the 57 of Sturgis topside, try to work way up against the fence in 1 and 2, almost way out of line. They go, and Sturgis trying to power down. He'll get a push down the back straightaway from that 12 of Joey Brown. Good battle going on, just 1.5 seconds back from the top spot.
Yeah, it is a great battle. Throw that 88 in. There's Josh Berry as well, almost making contact right there with that 12 of Joey Brown. They're able to settle it out, go single file for the time being. The 74 is still trying to figure a way around PJ Sturgis, but Sturgis doing a great job with that high line to hold him off. And now, as we go on board with that 74 right now of Taylor Hurst, you can see him running that inside line. It's going to leave the outside lane open, and the momentum now is going to carry Joey Brown to the outside. They're still battling side by side.
Yeah, that battle continues side by side. The outside of the racetrack much more viable here in the opening laps. Not a lot of rubber down on the surface with 4 laps now of the 50 here tonight completed. And it looks like finally Joey Brown could win that battle, but doesn't want to stay in line. He goes way back up to the outside fence, almost diamonds the corner very early, and he'll cross over the 57 of Sturgis, at least trying to. Not going to be able to keep that speed, and he jumps back up in line. Behind him, the number 88, Josh Berry, going to try to make something happen. He'll go to the inside of the number 74 machine, topside, and Taylor Hurst, and that battle going to come side by side across the start-finish on the outside once again, with the advantage of the 24 degrees of banking, able to power off the quarter and stay in front in that battle for P8.
You know, one thing I am noticing, that top side, we see it under the lights more often, that it seems to have a better advantage. But tonight, right, or at least right now, under the daytime conditions, it has the extra speed, or at least if you're able to stay out there, you have that opportunity to at least maintain, but it doesn't look like you're really getting that forward drive that you really normally would get, that we would see under the lights. So that bottom side, still a viable option for these drivers, especially here early on. You can see that 57 now, Sturgis going to the inside of Joey Brown. That is the battle for 6 here off of turn number 2. The high side momentum will continue to work for that 12 for the time being. It'll obviously come into play a lot more as the tires start to wear out and as the rubber starts to get laid in the racetrack as well. But for the time being, all these guys now single file and racing their way back to the start-finish line.
The top 10 in that single file line, but they're all within 2.1 seconds of the driver up in front of the field. So while there isn't a lot of side-by-side towards the front of the field, plenty of movement and plenty of people within close quarters that are able to battle it out. The 12, the 57, they flirt with some side-by-side. Same with the 88 and the 74, but nothing really comes from that at the moment. Ray Alfalla jumped out in front early. He's 0.4 of a second right now in front of Dylan Duval. The TimScorder.ca Chevrolet just in front of Dylan Rafferty. The 46 Ford is on his back bumper at a battle for the number 2 spot down in 1 and 2. One of the closer battles inside the top 5.
Yeah, it is one of the closer battles. That 42 actually started to fall back a little bit more from Ray Alfalla, so that's brought him into the clutches of Dylan Rafferty for the time being as those two guys battle for that second spot. They're doing a good job. 2 distinct different lines, too, as well. You see that 46 all the way to the white line. Then you see Dylan Duval trying a little bit something different, trying to carry more speed, trying to do anything he can right now to catch up to that 2 machine. But Right now, Ray Alfalla knocking off another 10th now as he still continues to pull away off turn 2.
And he is enjoying that battle to go on right now for the number 2 spot because it's not going to allow Dylan Duval or Dylan Rafferty to get up to him. So he's enjoying it now, and out in front, he's going to put lap number 10 behind him. Smooth sailing for the number 2, who also not only qualified on pole with that 650, but also bested the practice session with a 27.756, looking to sweep the evening here, coming in as the defending All-Star champion from 2015 and looking to go back-to-back. Back in the pack with Josh Berry, the number 88 Chevrolet. He's behind side by side with Joey Brown, PJ Sturgis, the 57, to the inside of the racetrack in turn number 3. It's a battle for P7.
That little bobble right there by the 57 had to get out of the throttle. It's going to allow the 12 now, Joey Brown, to take over that position completely. And it's going to also allow that 88 Josh Berry now to pull up side by side into turn number 1. And looks like that 88 is going to make short work of it right there. He's going to get around that 57. Along comes the 74 as well. Taylor Hurst looking for another position here as they continue to battle. He falls back in line, though, right in front of that 09 of David Rattler.
Yeah, Rattler also a quiet night so far. Started 10th, runs in 10th, but he's right there with the 30 Donna Johnson behind him, looking to try to jump onto this battle, and they go from being 2 wide, 2 rows deep, to now single file between the 57 to 74 with the 09. Now 2.7 seconds behind the battle for the race lead in front of these guys. Joey Brown really liking the outside lane of the racetrack, a completely different line than what you're seeing out of Josh Berry behind. Josh Berry, winner of the All-Star Shootout just a couple of minutes earlier to this race. That's how he got himself qualified into the field tonight. Qualified 9th. It is up 2 spots so far to P7. He and the 12, though, their lines vary very much so. Down in 1 and 2. The 12 way up top. The 88 charges the bottom of the racetrack in the center, but then coming off the corner, the outside, just a better line to be in.
Yeah, it is for the time being, but I'll tell you what, that 88 looks real strong on the bottom as well in 1 and 2. Makes up so much ground there. It's going to be all about how he can get off of turn number 4, and if he can stay right with them to get that opportunity maybe to slide up in front of him off of turn number 2. So we'll see what he can do this time, heading back into turn number 1. The 88, Josh Berry, looking to make up some more progress. Only 2 spots so far here in the early going, but he's trying to get some more here. The 12, though, decides to go that bottom lane this time around, and that's not going to allow that 88 to get anything up close now. As you can see, those two settle it back out. Alan Bowes, though, in that 21, Evan, turn number 3, he's going inside now of Dylan Rafferty.
Yeah, he goes to the bottom of the racetrack, going to slide up, coming off for the corner, and gets the spot. Rafferty takes a peek for the crossover. The 21 Toyota shuts the bottom lane, and just like that, Alan Bowes now up 3 positions after starting in P6. He runs 3rd in the moment, 1.5 seconds behind Alfalla, but just within a couple of tenths. Dylan Duval, again, the 42, the 46, were the ones that were battling amongst themselves. Duval eventually was able to kind of maintain that number 2 spot, win that battle, stay where he was. They're both basically in clean air, with Alfalla being now a second between he and Dylan Duval. So 42 going to be running a little bit better than Bose's car at the moment. Curious to see, though, if that 21 Dragon Tech machine can get up to Duval, or if he's stuck now 1.4 seconds back, because 17 laps in, first time tonight, the top 3 have kind of gotten a little bit of room to try to race.
Yeah, this is about the point of the run, too, as well. We know in these builds here on iRacing that about that 15 lap mark on a run, that's where you're going to see some of these guys start to fall back. The guys who were pushing it early, wearing out those tires pretty quick, and then you're going to see those guys that were kind of conserving, kind of saving their tires and saving their stuff, running a more gentle line, I should say. You'll start seeing those guys start coming forward. So I think Alan Bowes making his way around Dylan Rafferty. I think that shows that 46 maybe pushed a little too much in those opening 8 to 10 laps, and he's starting to fall back. He's actually falling back now to Brian Blackford for that 4th and 5th spot. Those two battle go on right now, and that 12 of Joey Brown also coming into the picture.
And Joey Brown creeping up. He's up 1 position. Talk about big movers. Well, people go in the wrong direction. Brian Blackford, 11th in practice, had a great qualifying effort to find himself P2. He's down 3 spots so far, and these guys are really coming after each other at a turn number 2. The car slipping and sliding around. The 22 of Blackford tried to get around Rafferty that time. Didn't quite happen. Joey Brown continues to ride behind him. These 3 cars throw a blanket over him, continue to battle good, and now as your race leader works out number 20 of 50, and we take more than halfway through to the point of that competition. Caution, nobody out on the racetrack, not surprisingly, has decided to come down to pit road.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that 42 running about the same lap times as that 2 of Ray Alfalla. He actually cut about a 1/10.5 or so off over a couple laps and then just lost about half a tenth that last time. So he's been pretty consistent right now as these tires start to wear out with that 2 car. So we'll have to see if he can continue to pull closer or if he's going to fall back. Falls back a little bit that lap. But right now, with those guys battling behind him, that's got a lot of fun to see right there. Is Blackford now in that 22. He overtakes the 46 and moves himself up one more spot now, up to 4th here, and looking for the crossover. Here comes Rafferty now back to the inside.
And that battle going to continue on and really close. That top of the 2, the 12 out of shape up to the outside fence. And almost into it. Joey Brown, he's been quite accustomed with the outside wall so far tonight. Not sure he really wanted to get that tight. And he goes way high to turn number 1. Not surprised that it's what the Inex machine's been doing all night long. Taylor Hurst saw it as an opportunity to go to the inside. It's going to cost him some speed. And here comes Josh Berry on the offensive. And the Pink Chevrolet picks up his 2nd spot on the night, going up to the number 7 spot.
They had made it up to about 7th, I think. Lost another one. Battle up front, though, for that 2nd spot. Dylan Duvall in the 42. He's been overtaken now into turn number 1. The 21 of Alan Bowes has been showing a lot of speed here in the late run, and he's moved his way all the way up to 2nd now, and he's going to look to chase down Ray Alfalla. The problem is he was 1.4 seconds back. Now he's 1.5, so not so sure he's running fast enough laps to maybe catch our leader at this current time, but he's fast enough. He'll get up to that 2nd spot now as they come off of turn number 4 and complete lap number 23.
2 laps away from halfway in the 75 miles at 50 laps of competition here tonight. But again, nobody really counts that much of a milestone in this one. All eyes in 14 laps to the halfway point. The 46 of Rafferty going to slide real tight at a turn number 2. And in front of him, a battle goes on to Blackford to the inside on Dylan Duvall. Alan Bowes was able to catch the 42 to take away P2. And Blackford going to go back up one more, almost back where he started in the 2nd position. He jumps back into the number 3 spot, and just like that, Dylan Duvall now down in 4th.
Yeah, I definitely see. Blackford took advantage right there of a bobble off of turn number 2. That 42 was looking to make a pass on Alan Bowes. Wasn't going to happen. Slipped up just a bit. Lost his momentum. Allowed the 22 of Blackford to get around him. And now the 3 of these guys, I should say, battle for that 2nd spot here. I'll tell you what, 21 to 22, both of those guys a little slow in the beginning part of this race, but you can see why they were. The tire wear has been the factor, and they've been able to work their way up through the field. Now 2nd and 3rd they run on the track, and the problem is they're still losing time to that too.
Yeah, the 2 of Ray Alfalla has kind of found himself at a comfortable spot. He's no longer pulling away. At one point, even 5-10 laps ago, it looked like Duvall was closing in. That started to go away once that 42 began. At 2 seconds at the moment between your race leader and the guys behind him. And you talk about that battle behind. Well, it continues to rage on. Dylan Duvall is not safe behind him. Contact. Joey Brown could end up at the outside fence. He tried to squeeze high on Dylan Rafferty and ran out of real estate, and that's heavy damage on the 12 Chevrolet. He'll lose 2 spots. Barry Hurst and even David Rattler going to get around, and now it looks like that 12 going to be forced down pit side.
That's some extensive damage on that left side, a little bit on the right side, a little bit on the left as well from the contact with the 46. So it looks like Rafferty as well with some right front damage there. Pushed it in a little bit, lost another spot right there to Josh Berry, and Berry continuing to make his climb as well. He's looking to the inside of Duvall, and he's going to have a nose there. Duvall still loose off of the corners here. It's starting to slip up. Tires definitely falling away on that 42.
Yeah, and right at the end of the run, the good news is for those guys that final run to the checkered flag going to be with inside of 10 laps to go, so they're not going to have to deal with the cars being this ill-handled once we go back at it and race for the checkered flag, but you still can't afford to give up any more positions. You see that 42 with Dylan Duval losing the spot to Josh Berry, now down to 5th. He'd been running in second Indy for the majority of this run. It's easy to say we're 5 laps or so away from that competition caution, just inside of 10 laps until we get to that point. But you can't say, okay, I can quit charging, because if you lose 3 spots, that's 3 spots deeper than you are for that final restart, and that cannot happen. And at 42, he just can't seem to get a handle on the race car. Another driver looking to make a move on him. Rafferty to the inside and side by side for 5th.
Yeah, they are. Topside going to prevail, at least for the time being. The 42 still struggling, though. Looks like he had to get off the throttle just a bit on corner exits. The 09 touches the wall there off of turn number 2. That's going to kill his momentum, allow the 90 of Nicholas Johnston now to make a pass around him, a name we haven't talked about much at all here, from 14th to 8th. Make that 7th now as they battle off of turn number 4 and down the front straightaway. And I'll tell you what, take a look up front a little bit. That 22 is cut into that lead by about 2/10 as well here. So not sure if that was on the plan either, to fall back to about 5th spot, and then now all of a sudden, when we're in that point where we're getting closer to that competition caution here, he's up to that 2nd spot. So that's a lot of effort right there for Blackford.
Yeah, he's been doing a good job. Again, he fell those spots early, made it back up. Minus the up and down, a couple of guys that have been charging very well tonight. Nicholas Johnston, the Renani machine, started in 14th. He is back in 7th at the moment. If he can knock off 2 more spots, Rafferty, Duval here get to the top 5 for that competition caution, he could be in a spot to win this race, and he'll go to the inside, down the back straightaway, going to try to challenge, and he will make it a side-by-side battle for the number 6 spot. The guys a little bit closer to the front than him include Josh Berry and Alan Bose. They have both picked up 5 and 3 spots respectively, and the woes for Duval continue. He finds the turn 4 fence and loses 3 more.
Loses 3 more, falls back even further. It's going to make it a tough little sprint for him at the end. Even with the 4 fresh tires, he's going to have so much traffic to work through. So definitely not what the 42s wanted here on this one. 3 more spots lost here right before this competition caution. And for the other end of the foot of that, Nicholas Johnston making his way up through the field here, all the way up to 5th now. So a great run for him in this opening stint. That's exactly what he needed to get himself up here towards the front for this last final run.
Side by side, 57 to 42 continue to do battle. That's PJ Sturgis on the inside. Another slide by Dylan Duval. He'll hang on once again. Taylor Hurst going to take the spot away, and for a race that started so good for the TCM Chevrolet, if he got a yellow maybe 15 laps into this and everybody pitted, it would have been a good night, but that car can just not keep it underneath him on the long run, and it continues to fall deeper and deeper into the pack. Now 35 laps in of 50 on the evening. Brian Blackford 1.5 seconds behind Ray Alfalla. They're going to go to fresh tires. We assume pit stops are open. When the competition caution comes, you do not have to take any tires. You do not have to pit. But if they do, Blackford going to be looking at a short run to get at Alfalla, but the 22 looks a little bit better on the long end of the run.
Yeah, see, that's the one thing we won't know until this second stint comes up is those guys that were conserving, the Blackfords, the Alan Bose, Josh Berry, even the 90, the way those guys kind of ran this first 15 laps and now all of a sudden have come up to the front, they can't do that in this second half as the caution does come out for that competition yellow.
Competition caution going to wave a little bit early on lap number 38. Drops at 36, coming to 37, and that could be the only time that these guys slow down. But again, if we do see a little bit of contact per se after the restart and a yellow flag is to come back out, we would have a possible 1 opportunity of a little bit of NASCAR overtime with an all-school green-white checker. So this is not the only time that the will slow down for the yellow possibly on the night because, as the age-old saying goes, the cautions breed cautions. But we do slow them down with 14 of the 15 drivers that started this race still on track, all with the exception of Joey Brown, who is 8 laps down and still down pit side to continue to get the number 12 Chevrolet service. So you have to think easily. Anybody near the top 5 has got a shot. Pit road is open. It looks like all of them are coming down, led by Ray Alfalla.
Yeah, they're all making their way down. We talked about it earlier. Will some guys stay out? Will some only take 2 tires? The way these cars are slipping and sliding, especially you saw that 42, the way he fell back there, I can't imagine anybody trying that 2 tires here. I really think that would definitely hurt them overall. They'd be in the back real quick.
Into the stalls they go, the number 2 at the end. Does anybody try a 2-tire stop to get themselves the advantage? It looks like 4 tires, gas and go for everybody up front. The race off of the pit lane. Not going to be one outside. Out of nowhere, Alan Bose tries to dig for it. He also took on 4 tires and fuel. Not enough to snip Ray Alfalla of the top spot, but it is going to put the number 21 Toyota into P2, and Brian Blackford will fall back into the number 3 position. That could be huge, starting on the outside of the front row as opposed to the inside row number 2 for the restart.
We could, but I do remember that initial restart, the 2, the way he was able to drive, and even the 42 of Dylan Duvall, that bottom line on that initial restart through 1 and 2 was so much faster. So we'll have to see what that 21 can do. It's going to be all about the restart, but I really think he might be at somewhat of a disadvantage, and he might be able to jump in front of Brian Blackford, but once again, it all depends on the restart for the rest of those guys that are behind him.
So we take a look, let's reset the running order and take a look at a little bit of a modified iRacing.com midway race break. Ray Alfalla going to lead us back to the green flag for what could be the final restart on the night. He looks to back up his 2015 win and go back-to-back in the AlfallaTech All-Star race. Alan Bose to the outside of the front row. He will be in second. Brian Blackford will be third to the inside of row 2, and outside the number 90 Nicholas Johnston, and then Dylan Rafferty's 46 will restart in 5th.
Yeah, 6th will be that 88 of Josh Berry. 7th will be David Rattler in the 9. Taylor Hurst in the 74 will restart 8th. 9th goes to PJ Sturgis in that 42 of Dylan Duvall. Qualified 3rd. He's going to restart here in this final segment in 10th.
Behind them, T-Loff in the number 51, Tyler Laughlin in 11th position, Michael J. Johnson 12th, Ryan Borges back in 13th with Kevin King in 14th position, and that is going to be the final driver on the lead lap. Joey Brown has not officially retired from this race, but being 10 laps down, safe to say that he's going to round out the field at the back in P15. So 10 laps, so 9 laps, it's going to be one or the other. We'll find out this time. The lights on top of the pace car at 11 laps to go will go out. So it will be a 10 lap to go restart from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. 10 times around, the yellow flags are on. I don't think we're going to stay green for the whole thing. We saw how exciting they were getting Andy deep in the pack. The tires were starting to fall off. Well, they've got fresh tires now. And those guys sitting 2nd through 5th know that if they want to crack at it, they got to get it on this restart. It's going to be crazy to turn 1.
Oh, absolutely. This restart's going to be worth the price of admission here tonight, because this is absolutely going to be, it should be anyway, I should say. These guys cannot waste any time now. This isn't that 38-lap run like we saw some of those guys lagging back and kind of conserving their tires and then turning it on in the last 10, 15 laps. These guys have to go, and they have to go now. There's no ways around it if they want an opportunity to come out of here as the winner.
They are doubled up, the lights are off, and we get set to do it maybe just one more time. The American Childhood Cancer Organization Ford Mustang GT pace car going to make the sharp left-hand turn down and out of the way. Ray Alfalla in control of the field. Green flag in the air. 10 laps to go in the AlfallaTech All-Star Invitational, and the 2 cars got the lead, but Blackford all over the deck led to turn 1.
He absolutely is. Looks to the outside now. Not going to be able to make it happen. Drops back down to the white line. Here comes the 90 as well, making his way up. He's all the way up to 3rd as he gets his way around Alan Bose. Cuts him off right there. Now Josh Berry looking for 4th.
Barry wants the number 4 spot. He'll go to the inside of the racetrack. He'll get it from the 21 of Alan Bowes, and now all the way up to the inside on Nicholas Johnston, side by side for the number 3 spot in front of them as they go door to door. Blackford trying to find a way around. He's digging on the outside of the racetrack, just 1/10 of a second between P1 and P2. The 22, he's not letting Ray Alfalla get away, but the 2's not letting Blackford get to him.
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, you got to hold him off. You're driving the wheels off these things now here. 10 laps, that's all you got to do to get it done. He's led the first 41 of them, I should say, making 42 laps now, but Ray Alfalla's got to do it for another 8 more laps here just to get the win, and you know he's got a lot of pressure now. Look at that 22 really close the gap now off turn 2.
He's got to find a way to get the 2 out of his line. He peeks to the inside, trying to convince the 2 that he had the position. Still sat about a half a car length off, and you're going to have to get a little bit more than that to make Ray Alfalla stumble. Lap number 43 going to fall behind us this time. No advancement and no fall for either of them. The gap still sits at 1 car length. Slowly but surely, you're seeing the lines begin to differ. The 2 of Alfalla holds the white line all the way through. The 22 digging. He's got a big run off of turn 2. To the inside comes Brian Blackford at lap number 44 and side by side for the race lead.
This is not what we saw that 22 do in that opening stint. He fell back, saved his tires, came back to the front. Now you can see him putting the hammer down here, still side by side. Give Ray Alfalla that lap lead, but he's not giving up too easy to 22 on the inside. Blackford looking for the advantage off turn 2.
So close to getting clear, but not able to do so. They continue to go nose to nose. Security inside. He's got to get the pass done before he melts those tires off the rims. It's hard on the inside of the racetrack. The 2, he'll wind it up on the outside of turn number 4. And Alfalla not only get a lead again, but he will clear the 22 of Blackford at 5 laps to go.
Yeah, I think right there the 22 realized I didn't have the advantage. I don't have the momentum. I'm going to burn these things off. Let's cool the tires off a couple more times. He's got to be careful. All that side-by-side action, that's brought that 90 and the 88 into the picture now. 4 cars up here looking for the race lead.
Yeah, Johnson, 4/10 back. Barry, 6 back. They want to get into the conversation, but I think if they have to get through Blackford, it's going to have to be Brian Blackford to get the job done. 3 laps to go the next time by the start-finish line, and again, remains very much so the same. Blackford not giving up, but you have to know that that car is ailing, and he's giving it everything he has 3 times by the next 2. The gap is 1 car length.
Yeah, only 1 car length right now. The 90 has crept up as well. He's 1 car length off the back of the Alfalla, still continuing to hold on to that lead right now and stretched out a little bit. Look at the run. Here comes the 90 of Johnson now. Coming home in second. A great move by all those guys and a great finish here in this one.
I was half expecting to see Blackford be able to end up at a podium in that one, but not to be after all the damage he sustained after he got hard into the fence down in turn number 1 after Johnson clipped him. They went 3 wide down the back with Bowes and Rafferty, and they went 3 wide all the way through turn 4 till they wrecked down in turn 1 after the checkered flag. They were going at it. But I think that move for P2, Andy, was just enough to give Alfalla the advantage where even if the Donnie machine didn't find those problems, I don't think he was going to be able to get back to the 2. Alfalla had to hold off the 22. Arguably, Brian Blackford had the position on the inside of the racetrack. He couldn't execute the pass. The 2 held on tough, and he gets his 2nd consecutive All-Star win.
Absolutely. Getting word now that Nicholas Johnson there overheated there, blew up the engine. Kind of an interesting thing when he had really nobody in front of him. So maybe just threw on some too much tape maybe as we look at the replay of the ending of this race, and just maybe too much tape on that nose, just trying to get as much speed, and that would explain a lot of that speed he had there in those last 10 laps.
Yeah, Talk about a crazy final 5 laps. We knew that the competition caution coming at lap number 36, going to give us 10 laps to go, meant that it was going to be exciting, but it absolutely fell apart for 3-4 drivers in those last couple of laps at Ray Alfalla. Now in 2016, just as he did in 2015, joins Nick Ottinger, who did it in 2014, and Thomas Lewandowski, who got it in 2013 as winners of this NASCAR Peak Anniversary Series powered by iRacing All-Star Invitational tonight, presented by AlfallaTech. Ray Alfalla, the first multi-time All-Star winner, and now in 4 races, we still remain with 3 drivers that have gone to the Charlotte Motor Speedway victory lane. We'll take a quick opportunity, step aside, and when we come back, we'll wrap things up for NASCAR's Backyard. You're watching the 2016 NASCAR Peak Anniversary Series powered by iRacing AlfallaTech All-Star Race. Back in a moment on LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.
While lions are notorious for their voracious appetites, they spend a great deal of time feeding other creatures. In fact, lions will take great care to ensure there's plenty to go around. As you can see, they keep giving with utter ferocity. Bravo, lions, and bon appetit. Do good, be a lion.
Welcome back live to the Charlotte Motor Speedway for the LSRTV post-race show as the 2016 AlfallaTech All-Star Invitational draws to a close. Ray Alfalla in the number 2 goes back-to-back, taking home the win tonight. Let's take a look at your LSRTV full race results presented by AlfallaTech. The number 2 started first, and he finished first. He led every single lap of this race en route to take the checkered flag by 1 second over Josh Berry in the number 88, who was able to come home with a P2 finish tonight. Dylan Duvall in third, with Brian Blackford fourth, and Dylan Rafferty round out your top 10 finishers. Good night for Alan Bose. Taylor Hurst, BJ Sturgis could have gone better back in 7th and 8th positions. Tyler Laughlin able to pick up a couple of spots, coming home inside of the top 10 with the 9th place result tonight. And rounding out your top 10 was the number 32 of Ryan Borges.
David Rattler in the 09 trouble there late into the wall. He'll finish in the 11th spot. 12th goes to Michael Johnson, and the 90 of Nicholas Johnson, who we saw have that motor trouble, I believe it was there at the end. Kind of blew up there into turn number 1. He will finish in the 13th spot. Last car on the lead lap, and then 1 lap down. The 29 of Kevin King will finish 14th, and then Joey Brown in the 12. That hard hit to the outside wall in turns 1 and 2, and that'll put him 23 laps down in the final 15th spot here tonight. But I do believe we've had our winner, and I believe he's down in victory lane, and Evan has caught up with him.
That's right, second consecutive win, but both under a little bit of different circumstances. Back in 2015, got it with a fixed setup. Tonight, got it with an open setup. Ray Alfalla, now a 2-time All-Star winner. Caught up with him down in the Charlotte Motor Speedway victory lane. Ray, congratulations on the win. My first question is going to be exactly to that point. Last year, getting the job done, everybody on the same equipment. This year, able to run with an open setup. How much of an advantage did that give you guys? Because you swept the evening, best in the practice, best in qualifying, and you also walk away with the checkered flag.
Thanks, Evan. Yeah, good night for the AlfallaTech Ford and in the AlfallaTech race. I don't know. I decided to just make it open setup this year, just because the past couple of years has been fixed setups, and I know people were complaining about that in a sense. The year before that, 2013, when we first did it, it was also open setup. So next year we might go back to a fix. I know there were people saying that there would probably been more people in the All-Star race if it would have been fixed setup. So I was just trying to change it up a little bit. But definitely, I'm looking always to improve the event. Next year we might have a selection, of 2 or 3 fixed setups and just have everybody vote on which one they want. But overall, it was a good night. We're essentially working on our car for next Tuesday's NPAS race, and so tonight, if anything, was a good little test session, and I think everybody kind of went in there with their baseline or whatnot and see where they can improve. But it was a good race. I was racing there side by side with my teammate Brian Blackford at the end, and I know several other of my teammates made it, and I just want to say thank you to everybody who showed up. They didn't have to, and so it's cool. We had a good field for the showdown, and then pretty good field for the All-Star race. But we'll probably change it up a little bit more for next year to get more people into the main.
Well, I know that the drivers appreciated it, and it was an exciting race. You talk about that battle with the 22. In those final 4 laps, it was looking like it was going to be you and him going head-to-head. Next thing we know, basically everybody behind you started trying to wreck each other, and it all kind of fell apart for them. You were able to run away with this one, but staying in front for that opening stint, obviously you guys had a good car, but worked well out in front by 2 seconds. And then you go to that final segment. Were you expecting Brian to be able to stay on you like that, or did you think you guys might have been able to get away from him?
Yeah, I mean, we made some adjustments and also taped up a bit for the last sprint to the finish, and I think a lot of people taped up a lot more than I did. We saw Nick blew up, and I think somebody else blew up, and we had the green-white checkered rule. So if the yellow would have come out, with more than one to go, essentially we would have run under pace speed the last, the lap after the checkered, and then when the pace car pulls in, we would have run 2 more laps. So, the biggest thing I was wondering was whether to take 2 tires or 4. Obviously, staying out was pretty much not an option, but 2 tires kind of seemed like it would it could work. And I was surprised, why not non-points race? I'd figure at least 5 or 6 people would try it, but nobody did. But yeah, it's a good. I think maybe a few people probably didn't show all they had, or they're still starting to work on their setup. I think we have something pretty decent. We've run already. This is going to be our 4th mile and a half this year, so everybody should have a pretty good baseline of a good setup, and I think we're off on the right track. Everybody on Slip Angle and NX works well together to put these setups together, and we're looking forward to next Tuesday's race.
At 200 laps next Tuesday, a lot more than the quick 50 that we shot through here tonight. But it's a good point that you talk about with the setups because, in recent weeks rather, talks with the Indy 500 about, teams and manufacturers kind of keeping an eye on each other and sandbagging. How much of tonight was, also coming out and having some fun? And it was a great race. We saw tons of 2 and 3 wide back in the pack, a lot of guys getting at each other. How much do you think, though, that you could learn about some of the other teams from running here tonight as far as people showing everything that they have, or just kind of scoping each other out?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell. Normally when we practice, it's just against your teammates, so everybody has the same setup. So it's pretty much a shot in the dark as far as, when you show up to a race. We showed up something we thought was pretty good. I don't know if anybody else was sandbagging or whatnot. I mean, I don't know what's the point of running the race if you're going to sandbag, but because in the end, I feel like everybody tries really hard to go as fast as possible. So I don't see the whole sandbagging thing be that effective. Just because we were a bit faster there than some of the guys doesn't mean that we're going to stop working on our setup. We still have a ways to go to perfect the setup, and we're going to keep working on it. So. All you can do is just focus on how your car feels. Our car felt pretty good, and we'll see what happens. This year it drives totally different regarding how the tire falls off, and also this is the first time we're running during the day at Charlotte since 2011, I believe. So that'll be a big difference as well.
Plenty of things to look forward to next Tuesday, but the number 2 Ford looked very good tonight, Ray. The sponsors, the shout-outs, and as well being a big part of making this race happen. Who do you want to thank from the driver's seat and as well to the other competitors?
Yeah, of course. Go to AlfallaTech.com if you're looking for a gaming computer. Also thank Wendell Scott Foundation, STEM Mix, Snowcone Productions. Thanks to Stephanie Lessentine for adminning. She was in charge of throwing that yellow. And thanks to LSRTV for putting this on together, and again, thanks for the drivers that showed up. Hopefully, we put a pretty decent show, and look for the event to be even better next year.
Well, we want to thank you for coming over and spending the Wednesday night with us, Ray. Again, congratulations on the win. We wish you the best of luck next Tuesday.
Thanks, guys. See you.
That's your winner tonight for the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Ray Alfalla gets the job done. Another driver that had a solid run in that one and came up just a little bit shy at the end of it was Brian Blackford, Andy. He was a part of that battle for the race win, and he ends up with just a P4 finish. You've caught up with the driver of the number 22.
Yeah, I have caught up with the driver of the number 22. That is Brian Blackford. And Brian, talk about that last run. Even from the beginning opening run, you kind of fell back. It looked like maybe conserving your tires. You're able to get your way back up towards the front there at the end. How important was that to get yourself ready for that final 10?
Yeah, Andy, we did a pretty good job that first run of managing our tires. And like you said, we were able to make some ground up on Ray. But we knew it was going to come down to that last pit stop. And wasn't sure what strategy I was going to do until it actually happened and it played out. And looking back, I probably wouldn't have done anything different. I would have probably tried to get a little bit closer to Ray in the turns, maybe slide him up just a little bit. But other than that, I'm really happy with how it turned out. And it's really nice to be able to race aggressively and not have to worry about incident points like we do in the NASCAR PK Antifreeze series. So I'm really excited with how we ran, and I think we'll have something for next week. We'll be pretty good on the long run, so hopefully we get some hot and slick weather. That's where I really excel at as a driver.
Yeah, it looked like a lot of fun sliding around in there. And we talk about that last pit stop, you were deciding whether to take 4 or 2 or try something different. And were you surprised that nobody tried the 2-tire stop and everybody went with 4?
Yeah, I was surprised for sure. I definitely expected somebody to try it, but the Triad Lawn Care Ford Fusion lined up third, and that was honestly exactly where I wanted to be. So Ray was a good teammate. He counted me down, and we were able to get a sizable lead there. And just really got to thank everybody at Slip Angle Motorsports and the Inex Racing team. They're a great group of guys, and love working with them. And obviously, we've got a pretty fast car, so that one, and I couldn't do it without him. And shout out to Josh Hanner. He's probably watching the broadcast. He's regular crew chief for the number 22. So thanks to him and Lisa Pineda, Ray Alfalla, Stephanie Lessentine, everybody on Slip Angle. We're really hitting our groove here, and hopefully we'll pull the number 22 into victory lane next week.
That's what it's all about, and you were able to get some speed out there tonight, and obviously working on those setups. Running in the daytime next week will be the first time since about 5 years or so, is what they're saying. And so obviously these 50 laps, it's only about a quarter of distance you're going to have to run next week. But do you feel that this was enough to maybe at least give you an idea, I say, on the long run of how fast you were there in those on that first stint?
Yeah, I think it gives us a pretty good indication of what kind of strategy we want to do, and for sure, it definitely helps a lot to get some laps under you. And I gained a lot of confidence during the last 2 races. The Showdown 2 gave me a lot of confidence, so I'm happy I ran, and it was really good practice. But we still got to get a lot faster before the race. I'm sure everybody's going to step up their game, and there's quite a lot of testing to be done, but it's looking promising so far. So I'm excited and can't wait for next week.
There you have it. You got about a week to get it done and get that practice in there, and wish you the best of luck coming next Tuesday.
All right, great. Thank you guys for broadcasting. I really appreciate it. LSRTV, everybody in the booth.
Well, we appreciate that too, and congratulations again, Brian. A solid run here tonight.
Thank you.
Well, there you have it, Evan. 4th place for that number 22 machine. Looked like he was going to baby battle for that that top spot there, but I'll tell you what, those 2 cars there, those teammates, definitely showing a lot of speed here, and they should make for a lot of fun racing next Tuesday as well.
Yeah, tonight just a little bit of a warm-up session for those 200 laps next Tuesday. I now caught up trackside with the second-place finisher, Josh Berry, driver of the number 88 machine. In the conversation, late is able to come home tonight with a P2 finish after finishing just about a second behind Ray Alfalla to the checkered flag. But Josh, for the majority of that final run, the 88 was back in P4. Next thing you know, the seas part in front of you, and you're able to come home with a second-place finish. Walk us through those final 10 laps.
Yeah, that was fun. I didn't really put myself in a great position during the pit stop. Overshot my pit box a little bit, lost a couple spots that probably hurt me. I was still able to get a good restart and get to 4th, but really just didn't have the speed initially to really contend with those guys in front of me. And then Nick obviously blew up, and I was able to squeak by Blackford on the outside, and that put me to 2nd. But really, that was about all I had. So it was fun to do. Really, just when I started this whole thing tonight, I just wanted to make it and was able to win the showdown and transfer into the big race, and really just didn't qualify well enough to really be in contention, starting in the back like I did, or not, starting mid-pack like I did. It was just hard to gain the track position. Everybody was slipping and sliding. It made it hard to pass, and by the end of it, we worked our way to the front, but we probably needed a little bit more laps to really do anything.
Yeah, we were just talking with 4th-place finisher Brian Blackford, who also had to come in through the All-Star Shootout. He finished 3rd in that one. You won the All-Star Shootout, and he said that he appreciated being able to run those couple of extra laps. He felt like it helped him in the main event. You guys started in 9th position, but continued to make up spots all race long. Do you think that maybe helped you out?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was pretty disappointed to see that so many people didn't race tonight. It was surprising to me. I mean, I guess people were just are just cocky. It's all I can figure, because the way I've raced a long time, and I know the best way to practice is to race, and that's why I raced tonight. There's no better way of testing and seeing what you got and racing other people than actually racing. So I was kind of disappointed that a lot of people didn't show up for the race tonight. I think it's kind of disappointing, that Ray puts in the work to put this on and people didn't show up. But I guess they're just too good to race. But a lot of us had a lot of fun tonight, and it was a good time. And like I said, yeah, I love. There's no better way to practice than there is to race. So definitely enjoyed that, and got to run the showdown and practice that and learned from that. Learned what I need to do better, hopefully for next week and what we need to improve on our car. But ultimately, by the end of it, it ended up pretty good.
And the big takeaway from tonight, what do you guys think that's going to be? 50 laps now behind you, but you got 200 next Tuesday. And just like tonight, that race is going to be for this season in the daylight as opposed to under the lights here at Charlotte.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be different. I love the weather that we got. We got a slick track tonight, and that was fun. That's the best kind of racing that you can when you can slip and slide like that. I think it's going to be a little bit different of a strategy next week. Obviously it's a longer race, but people aren't going to be able to save and drop back as much as we were, like we saw, especially in the showdown. A lot of people started in the rear and was able to kind of conserve. You're not going to be able to do that in the real race because there's just going to be too many competitive cars out there to make up the time. But ultimately, like I said, it was good practice. I had fun. I appreciate Ray for putting it on, and looking forward to competing in it again, hopefully.
We wish you the best of luck next Tuesday. Before we let you go, Josh, the sponsors, the shout-outs, people behind the scenes, who makes it happen for the 88?
Yeah, but just want to thank Peak for coming on board. Really, we've had a decent start to the season in the Peak Antifreeze Series, but we obviously want to be a little bit better. And everyone at HPM for their hard work on the setup. And Marcus Lindsay spotting for me tonight. He did a great job. And like I said, we're looking forward to 200 laps next week, and we'll see how we stack up.
Well, again, congratulations to P2 tonight. We'll see you then. That is your second place finisher tonight. Josh Berry behind the wheel of the number 88 machine coming home in P2. Andy Kessler now caught up trackside with your sixth place finisher, Alan Bowes.
Yeah, I'm down here with Alan Bowes. And Alan, coming from last winter, winning a bunch of races in the Pro Series, you come to the Peak Antifreeze Series, you get a win already, get yourself locked into this all-star race. How was it for you first time out?
Oh, it was definitely a blast. Kind of a shame we only had, 14 or 15 people. I think having quite a few more in that race would have made it a lot more fun. But, the car was probably a little bit tighter than I'd wanted it to be. And in turn caused to kind of push loose. But I'm sure that we'll get that all sorted out by next week.
Well, you definitely have plenty of time to do it. You got a week to get it done, but how important maybe running these laps under the similar condition, I would say, with the daylight for next week as well, will help you, or at least show you kind of what you need. You talked about the car being a little bit too tight for your liking, so obviously a lot of work to do this coming week getting ready for that 200 laps next Tuesday.
Well, really look at it like the way that Barry looked at it, the only way to get better is to turn laps. And being able to turn laps with people that have been working on the setup just as hard as you have, if not harder, no better way to see where you stand. And honestly, it's a great experience. Come out here and race with the people that I'll be racing with next week.
You're absolutely right. You did show a lot of speed there during this race, got all the way up to that second spot, just not quite enough to get it done there at the end there. Was the strategy at all for you in this one on that final 10-lap stint, was it no doubt 4 tires, or was it something you were kind of trying to figure out what you wanted to do there during that first opening?
It was definitely 4 tires. With the way that the tires were now, 2 tires, it hasn't really worked in any other race that I've done, so 4 tires was a definite call there. But tried to do a couple things to the car there in the pits, and it made it really tight, so now I know that I can't really do that next week.
That's what it's all about, running laps, getting some things done, trying different things right now when no points are on the line is the best way to say it. But Alan, you get a whole week to work on it, and hopefully next Tuesday night you'll be able to get it done there, maybe hopefully get yourself to victory lane. But sponsor shout-outs, it's your time.
Yeah, I got to thank our air Chevette, drakentech.com. Every week they're on the car, no different tonight. I got to thank Houston Hamer for building us a pretty nice setup tonight. Got some work to do, so we'll get down to that. But got to thank Ian Plash for spotting. You know, we had a blast tonight. So, and thank you a lot to Ray. He does a great job every year doing this. So, can't thank him enough for this race.
There you have it. Alan Bowes comes home in the 6th spot here tonight, and looking for more next Tuesday night. Congratulations again, Alan.
Thanks.
There you have it, Evan. 6th place here on this race tonight, and it looks like we've got up with one more, Nick Johnson, who, I'll tell you what, Evan, if you're not doing it, I'm taking out some stock and racing tape because we definitely know air doesn't pass through it.
Yeah, rough night when it's all said and done for the Liberani. A 13th place result for Nicholas Johnson, another driver that came through earlier in the night through the All-Star Shootout. Comes home on the lead lap tonight and caught up with him trackside. Nicholas, a rough go at it, I guess, when it's all said and done. The Liberani machine a little bit hot coming across the start-finish line there. In prime position, it looked like to try to battle for the race win in this one. You worked hard to get the car up in the front positions, and then you made the pass on Blackford, went down to turn 1 and 2 inside of the final 2. Looked like it was all you and clean air, and then you coasted for the final 1.5 miles. Talk us through at least how good the car was up to that point.
Well, the guys at High Performance Motorsports put together a great car for us tonight. It was just like my teammate Josh said, and Alan was just saying that the best way to practice and test for this stuff is to run a race. So, like them too, I'm fairly disappointed that many of the drivers who were invited, who are constant racers of the series, weren't here. But you know, that's on them. I think now we have a little bit of an edge on them running a race against other cars that were competitive. So that's their choice. But it was a fun event. Gotta thank Ray for putting it on. I know it's a lot of work, and thank you guys for broadcasting it, but it is what it is.
It was looking like it was going to be an exciting finish there. How important was it for you guys to make up those positions before the competition cost you to get yourself at a spot? Because it looked like the 22 and the 2 were going to be the 2 that were going to fight for the race win in this one, and you tried to jump at that one. If you didn't lose the engine, do you think that car was fast enough to make up about the second differential, or it was at that point you think that car got to P2 was the highest it was going to get with that time left?
Well, at the beginning of the race, we started fairly far back, so I decided that I was going to back off the field, save tires for about 10 laps. Then at that point, the tires are much better than most of the drivers ahead of me. I was able to run right through the field. Ended up 5th at the break. Came in, made a couple adjustments, were a little bit snug, and we just missed it by a little bit. I was still a little bit too snug for that last run, but we had speed, and my strong point was off of 2, so I think I could have got closer, at least enough to make it exciting for you guys. But at the end, the guys over at Power Motorsports, I told them to build me a special one for this race, and they told me it was only going to last 50 laps. But I must have pushed her a little hard. She only lasted 49.
A lot of guys talking about the number of cars in the field tonight and what they get out of this night going into next Tuesday nights with 200 laps on the board for that one. Also going to be a day race. How valuable do you think for you and the other guys that race here tonight as far as taking information into that next race?
I think it's huge. I mean, when you're out testing with your teammates, you're all trying to run the optimal line and a certain type of weather, and you're testing in one environment. When you come out here and race a event like this, not only are you practicing, but you're also seeing what other drivers are doing. Like, I saw many drivers trying the high side, the middle, and the bottom, like we were in Las Vegas a couple weeks back, and just learning on what you can do and what your car can handle at certain points during the run is invaluable to me. It's huge.
Well, it seems that those that have made the start tonight seem to agree with you, but it was a strong run for you guys. It was a good look at a race car. We hope the best for you and hope that it's got that speed up next Tuesday night. Unfortunately, a 13th place result when it's all said and done. Anybody do you want to give a shout out to? We got you here.
Yeah, I gotta say 13th is much better than those guys who didn't show up. I gotta thank Speed RC for being on the car this week. They've been on the car all year. They're a good group of guys, and when you guys race RC cars, go up there and hit up speedrc.com, get all your parts, all your RC car needs, and I'm just glad I beat Kevin King.
It's a strong night for you guys nonetheless. Nick, thanks for sticking around and chatting with us. Best of luck. We'll see you next Tuesday at Charlotte.
Thanks for having me. Ciao.
That is your 13th place finisher, somebody who could have easily come home second and third tonight. Not going to be the story. Nicholas Johnson back in the pack. When it's all said and done, Andy, an exciting race, a little bit lesser cars than what I think many of the drivers were expecting, and you heard how they felt about that.
Yeah, and you know what? And honestly, he's absolutely right. That's their loss. You know, I mean, when you think about it, seat time's what it's all about, especially with the simulator with iRacing. I mean, the more time you can be in that driver's seat and putting laps down, that's just the better you're going to get. I mean, that just like he talked about, where your car is going to be better. It just gives you that extra edge, that extra practice. It gives you that time on the track, like they all said, to race against these guys they're going to be racing against next week. It's not only just track time with your teammates, so it definitely gave a lot of them the opportunity to see what these guys had, and obviously they saw what Ray had. Ray, a dominating performance to get his second back-to-back win here in the All-Star event, so you couldn't see that. Now they're all probably opening up a room right now to work on that setup, saying, hey, listen, we were a tenth off of this guy. He was just too quick on the long run. He was too quick on the short run. We got to figure this out. So, it gives them a lot to go through. And it'd be kind of cool if they did this, every other week in between the not so much an all-star event, but, put together a race for these guys and let them see what each other's got. And that'd be kind of fun to watch too as well.
And I can promise you the drivers, at least several of them, I would have to imagine, including some guys on the teams who weren't in the race tonight, they were taking a look at the race, and they were looking at the numbers, and they're going to go back and debrief and see what they have. Because, again, tonight only 50 laps, but you string together 4 of these, you get a rough idea what you're going to get next Tuesday night for 200 laps, the longest 1.5 miler we have on the season for 300 miles on the NASCAR Peak Entry Series, powered by iRacing campaign. It's going to be a very different race from this one, but it is going to be exciting. And Ray Alfalla likes this track. He appears to be fast. I would not be surprised at all, Andy, to see the guys who we saw here tonight have that success next week.
No, you're absolutely right. And I mean, even Ray and Brian Blackford said, even with the speed they had, they're going to work, they're going to get more, and they're going to try to be even faster, and even if they can shave off another tenth or two, that can help them out next week as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun to definitely watch that. And 300 miles, that's a long, long race. A lot can happen. A lot of things will happen. A whole bunch of strategies will play into effect as well. So in for a treat next week. Hopefully everyone tunes in to catch that one.
It's going to be an exciting one through the rest of the 2016 NASCAR Peak Entry Series campaign. But for the rest of those races, for the rest of the season, that does it for us here tonight at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Ray Alfalla taking home the checkered flag when it's all said and done. He is now a 2-time winner of the AlfallaTech All-Star Invitational, featuring, as you saw tonight, some of the best in NASCAR's top rank. That's going to wrap things up, though, from Concord, North Carolina. We step back, and we hope that if you enjoyed tonight's coverage, you take a second look and try to tune in all week long for some of the best live sim racing action out there. Our website is livesimracing.com. I also encourage you to follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/livesimracingtv for more information. So on behalf of everybody behind the scenes at LSRTV LLC, and for the broadcast team tonight, for myself, Evan Pasoko, for Andy Kessler, and Cisco Scaramuza, congratulating Ray Alfalla on the win. We'll see you next time right here on LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.
This copyrighted broadcast is presented under the authority of LSRTV LLC and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations and may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form, nor the accounts and descriptions of this event disseminated in any way without the express written permission of Live Sim Racing TV. LSRTV would like to thank its loyal fans for their continued support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.